everybody. So obviously there's a story to that clip. I had mentioned in a few videos, if you guys are keeping up, that I had gotten the chance to go to the slums. Well, I met this great person who is working on his PhD, and he lives in the slums with his family. And he, on top of having a tourism business of showing, being a guide in the slums and a lot of other places in Mumbai, he also has a class. So he asked me to teach in this class, and I was very, very nervous because I have no idea what I would teach. He does biology and chemistry, and I'm a failure in biology and chemistry. I told him that I could teach accounting, I could maybe teach Spanish, and I could talk about LA. And that it worked out. I went inside, and the first thing, I obviously got severely lost when I got there because I always get lost. But when I eventually made it there, he had written on the board, "Welcome to Nipur from the US," which was really sweet. And then after that, I looked, and he had told me that not many of the students were there that day. And I was shocked because there were something like 40 kids just packed into this room. And as you saw in the video, and that was a slow day. So they were from all different levels of studies, and they were essentially getting like tutoring, kind of like an after-school tutoring. This was at about 7 p.m. in the evening. So when I walked in and I introduced myself, and I was so nervous. My mom is a teacher, obviously, as you know, but I never really thought of teaching, and so it was a little bit weird. But they were very welcoming. I asked them if I could speak in English or in Hindi, and they told me Hindi, which made it even tougher. Because I know Hindi, but it's a little bit hard when you're trying to explain things and when you're talking through, and when you have 80 eyes looking up at you. But it was really great, and I think I learned a lot from that situation. Kids were, of course, in India, the kids are so disciplined, and they really, pay attention to things, pay attention to what you're saying. So it was really nice to have them listen and just talk. And the questions they had, surprisingly, I was like, what kind of kids are gonna ask about accounting? But they had a lot of questions about accounting. Apparently, a lot of kids these days in India, especially in the slums, I think about 2/3 of them were interested in going into accounting. They were really interested. They asked me questions about accounting, how to get your CPA, how does it apply, and so they had all these questions. So for about, I think, 45 minutes, I just answered questions about accounting, and it was so funny because you go from work, to on a trip, and then suddenly you're talking about accounting. So that was really interesting. And then on top of that, they had they didn't ask me about LA at all. And so then I kind of coaxed them a little bit. I said, you can ask me anything about anywhere. And so they asked me finally about Los Angeles. And they asked me so many interesting questions like, do you have Indian food there? Of course. They asked me, have you ever sat in a Lamborghini? And I was like, okay. They asked me, let's see, how far is it from Los Angeles? How far is the flight? So I told them that, and of course the guy who has done this, put this all together, won't mention his name, but you can kind of see him in the video, but he was kind of translating, because sometimes I would just slip into English without thinking about it. And then I also pulled out a dollar bill. I thought they'd be interested to see it. I always find currency from other countries very exciting and interesting. So I passed it around, and they were so disciplined up to that point, and then they suddenly got animated, and they passed it around from like kid to kid. And one of the girls who asked a lot of questions, I actually thought that she would, she's one of those girls that, there's a kid that stands out that you interact with a little bit more. She was so ambitious, so I said, well, let me give her the $1. She'll enjoy it. So I did, and her eyes just lit up like the stars. She was just so excited, and she said, really, I can keep it? I said, yeah, keep it, it's for you. You asked me so many questions. She goes, really, why? And I said, oh, just enjoy it. So it was really sweet. So I got to teach a class in the slums, which was amazing, and then after that I had dinner with this guy's family, and it was a very amazing experience. I sat there, and you have this image of the slums, as I mentioned in a couple videos, but they had everything. They had a microwave and a TV, and they had a small home, and we all sat on the floor and had dinner together, and they had so much food. I was so stuffed by the end of it. And they even boil their water. So a lot of people who come, they're like, oh, you have to watch out, boil water, etc., etc. But it was perfectly fine, and the class was, and you know, the class was great. Dinner was fantastic. We talked for a long time. They showed me their home, and I didn't take pictures of their home because, of course, privacy. But it was an amazing experience, and I'm just so thrilled to be here. And they were just such amazing people. They were so welcoming, and they invited me into their home, and they were fasting. So I felt so bad because they were fasting and I was eating in front of them, so I kept apologizing for it. But yeah, I felt very humbled and very welcomed, and gosh, I'm so thrilled to be here. That's about it. There's a picture of the classroom right afterwards as a follow-up. And that's it. Take care. Bye, you guys.